It's been a while since we had a brand new entry in the Resident Evil series. We got a remake of 4 in 2023, but 2021 was the last completely new entry in the series. Resident Evil 7 and 8 were phenomenal games, but they both have little attachment to the overarching plot of the rest of the games, besides Chris Redfield being in those. But Resident Evil is now thrust back into the overarching plotline that's been going on since 1996. In the 30th anniversary for Resident Evil, Capcom has released a magnificent entry into their beloved horror franchise, and it more than delivers. To preface, I played through this game once, and I'm in the middle of a second playthrough at the time of writing this review. I also have been playing through both characters in third person. I tried to get into Grace's sections with first person, but I found that I just prefer third person for Resident Evil, so this is going to be a review of the game from the lens that it is a third person game. I barely played first person. I just don't like that perspective, so just treat this as if it's a third person game for this review specifically. You could talk between both of them, but it doesn't really matter. You get the same experience both ways. For the review, I played on standard modern difficulty, and I've tried out standard classic, which is a little more difficult than the modern mode, and Grace can only save with ink ribbons, just like classic RE titles. With that out of the way, here's my review of Resident Evil Requiem. Also, a side note, I won't be spoiling any story details, only what Capcom has shown in promotional material. The gameplay shown on screen will have some gameplay scenarios that may be considered spoilers, so if you are worried, just put this on in the background and enjoy. Resident Evil Requiem is a game I've been eagerly awaiting since the reveal at last year's Summer Game Fest. It had been a while since we had a Resident Evil game, and I was just itching for some more, and to see a follow-up to what was my game of the year in 2021, Resident Evil Village. Capcom closed the door on Ethan Winters, and I felt ready to hop back into some familiar territory. Oh boy, did Capcom take us back. In the initial reveal for Requiem, it was revealed that we would be heading back to a destroyed Raccoon City, and not only that, but the main character would be Grace Ashcroft, the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft from Resident Evil Outbreak. This was very interesting, and later on we would soon find out that Leon S. Kennedy would be making a return, his first new story appearance as Resident Evil 6. The hype was very real, and I was ready to hop back into the world of Resident Evil. Did Capcom deliver with Resident Evil Requiem? The answer is a resounding yes, and then some. What Capcom has created with this entry in the survival horror series is nothing short of excellence. The music, the tone, the characters, and the world are all very top of the class, quintessential Resident Evil. This game matches two different gameplay styles perfectly in a way that feels well-paced and truly unique for Resident Evil games. Past titles would try to choose between action and survival horror. Requiem fits both of them together like a puzzle piece. Grace's sections are focused on survival horror and inventory management, while Leon's segments are based on Resident Evil 4's combat and gameplay systems. I was initially worried that they wouldn't work together, but they somehow managed to make it work swimmingly. While both gameplay perspectives are phenomenal, I do have a clear favorite, and that would be Grace's sections. Grace's sections feel just as amazing as Resident Evil 2 Remake and offer up the third-person survival horror I have dearly missed in Resident Evil. The hospital from the first half of the game is a maze of disgustingly terrifying zombies that can talk and have routines that they remember from when they were alive. This creates terrifying encounters that you have to work around like a puzzle. Grace has a very, very limited amount of inventory space that you can upgrade later on, so you must rely on counting bullets and making each shot count. Leon's sections, however, rely on quick combat arena scenarios that utilize his special agent training and brute force strength to get through. With Leon, you can use enemies' weapons against them to save bullets, and this time, Leon has replaced his knife with a trusty hatchet that can deal devastating damage to an enemy once they have been stunned. The gameplay in this title is very, very, very phenomenal and is the highlight of the franchise. But now it's time to talk about some things that I didn't enjoy. I feel like some sections of the later game can drag on too long. That could be because it was my first playthrough, but it is worth mentioning as I felt as though I was wanting to hop back to the good stuff. There are some late game story points that really felt underbaked, but I won't touch on those because of spoilers. Other than that, I have nothing but positive things to say. All in all, Resident Evil Requiem is a true love letter to the franchise, and while it didn't completely blow away my expectations, I walk away satisfied knowing that I played a phenomenal Resident Evil game. that is very hopeful and leaves me positively wanting more. Resident Evil Requiem is a must-play, and I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. So, for this last half of the video, I would like to talk about how my review left out a whole bunch of stuff that I think that pushes my ranking very high of this game. This is probably my third favorite Resident Evil game of all time. It is just truly phenomenal, but some of the things that I want to talk about, I can't because they're very spoiler heavy, and that's kind of like some of the best parts of the game. So trust that there's a lot of secrets hidden in Resident Evil Requiem that I wanted to talk about in this review, but I might wait a little later to do another video that touches on some of these spoilers that excel the game further into being an all-time classic. So yeah, thanks for watching my review of Resident Evil Requiem. It is a must-play, so go pick it up and have a good time, and I'll see you guys soon. Stay tuned for more Resident Evil Requiem videos. I'm going to be making a lot of content based on this game. There's so much to talk about, but we'll wait a little bit longer, and stay tuned for some more live streams of Resident Evil coming up soon. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe, and please share this and let people know that Resident Evil Requiem is a phenomenal title. Take care, guys.